A group of 4 offensive linemen coming in. Really excited about all of them because, really this group is built on toughness. And you guys that have been in here with me have heard me talk about that a lot. We want to have a foundation of being tough. And then from there, we talk about, the athletic ability and the size and all those different things. So I'm really excited about these 4 because I think they check the boxes with what we're looking for in those areas. So first guy I'll talk about, Shep Turk. Obviously, I'm sure everybody in here, knows Shep. He's a local legend here at Thomas Jefferson. One of the best highlight tapes you'll ever watch because that guy's out here just rolling off the football, moving people, getting after guys' tails. Like, it is so much fun to watch this kid play. And one of the best things about him is he's just a guy that'll do whatever you ask. Like, he was one of the first, he may have actually been the first recruit I met when I got here in February, and he was like 230 pounds, something like that. They were like, is this kid big enough to play offensive line? And we were like, you need to get a little bigger, son. And he just started eating and lifting and getting bigger, and he looks great right now. I mean, he's like 285 right now, and he looks solid. And I'm just really happy with the way he's approached this whole process, and his future is going to be so bright because he's got the work ethic. He's got the everything you look for in an offensive lineman as far as those things. The next kid, Torian Chester, really talented offensive lineman from down in South Georgia. A lot of good offensive linemen come from that area, and he's probably one of the best. They run the ball down there just about as good as anybody in the nation. So it's good, a lot of fun to watch his tape as well. His big thing is he's a finisher, and I love that. I love watching him dump guys over the pile and run his feet through contact and just do a great job there. He's a big family guy. He's, with like Coach talked about, the new recruiting calendar here, you don't really get to go down there and see the family like we used to. So I've spent a lot of FaceTime hours, telling mom, hey, it's going to be okay. Your big 6'4", 305-pound baby's going to be just fine. We're going to take care of him. So excited about him as well. The next one, Jordan. Jordan's probably, one of the best tackles in the nation right now as far as the way he plays. Super athletic kid. Just the way he moves around, the way he pass sets, the way he comes off the football. He is just an absolute treat to watch play. And the funny thing about him now is he comes from, a family of giants. Like, I went down there with Coach Bates, and, we met them at the school, and we just randomly ran into his mom walking by, and they were like, she was like my size, like height-wise, she's a big girl. The whole family's like that. So it's awesome to see the size and the potential that he comes from and that he could work into right there. The last one, Aram. So talented tackle, from across the pond. A lot of people ask me, how'd you find Aram? How'd you get a hold of Aram? Well, obviously I got here late in the recruiting process, and we were looking all across the nation for a tackle that fits what we're looking for. Athletic, long, mean streak, right? We weren't really finding what we were looking for. So, what do? You expand your search radius a little bit. Well, we expanded that thing quite a bit, right? We found him over at a really interesting high school over there. It's called the NFL Academy, and it's got really big ties to the NFL. And there's a lot of talented players that come out of that place year in and year out, especially offensive linemen over the last couple years. So he's one that I think with his size and the fact that he's going to be an early enrollee here, I think that's going to be great for us and great for the Pitt Panthers. Any questions?
So I asked Pat this in his statements, he referred to you. Was there an emphasis to get bigger, taller guys to maybe fill offensive tackle with this class, 6'5", 6'6", or was it just you need all your recruits to be able to look you in the eye?
Well, looking me in the eye is a little tough sometimes, but big and tall is always great. I always want to start everything at do you have that demeanor about you? Like, are you going to go out there and turn down blocks, or are you going to try to finish blocks? And if I can build from that, then the other things are gravy on top of the mashed potatoes for a Thanksgiving dinner reference. But I think the great thing here is they all are that 6'4", 6'5", even 6'6". In Akram's case, they are up here at least chin, some of them in the eye. So that's all butter to me. But I want guys that are tough, and these 4 guys right here are tough football players. You just watch their highlight tape, which I don't know how many people watch offensive line tape, but they're fun if you watch it.
What's more exciting to you, seeing a road grader in the run game or as an elite pass protector?
Yeah, I think you got to have both. You got to be able to do both things, especially in today's offense. You got to be able to protect the quarterback. You got to be able to run the football. You got to be able to do both those two things equally as well. I kind of tend to say, hey, if you can pass pro, you can probably run block pretty well too. So, if it was like 51%, I want to see pass pro, 49%, I want to see run block. So, slight margin of error, just because I think pass protection is such a hard skill to master, and I think it's good to see kids that are developed to a certain extent in that area, which some of these kids are.
Jeremy, how does the speed in which you guys want to play impact what you're looking for in an offensive line?
I got full faith that Coach Stack downstairs, I could bring in, a guy the size of a dump truck, and he'll get him in shape by the time the season comes around. So, not that I would do that, but I've got faith in him. So that's not something that I don't take that into account. Speed of play at the high school level. I'm not looking for that when I recruit, because I have faith downstairs that they'll get him right in the ironworks.
Is Chester a guard?
Yeah, he'll be a guard. Yeah, he'll be a guard. I would predict, Shep would be the one that we would have to see kind of where he pans out over the course of, his first year or two. He'll probably end up somewhere inside, whether it's center guard, possibly tackle. I mean, I'm going to play the best five guys. So, it's but for sure, Torian would be your a guard inside. Shep's kind of between the other two are tackles for sure.
With Shep being the lone whoop guy, how have you seen him sort of fit that Pittsburgh toughness, that Pittsburgh grit?
It's awesome. I mean, he's Pittsburgh through and through. He was one of the first commits we had. He was obviously my first commit on the offensive line, and he's kind of glued this whole class together. He's always got those. He's always talking to the other recruits. He's always reaching out to them, making sure, hey, we're good. Hey, let's meet up here. Let's meet up there. Let's talk with each other over FaceTime, whatever it is. Between him and the quarterback, they've done a great job of kind of gluing everything together. So, just watching Shep play in the whippeal here, it's just impressive, the toughness and the finish that he plays with. I just enjoy watching that, and if you get a chance, watch his tape, because it's phenomenal.
It seems like offensive line might be the most difficult position to project of how guys are going to be 3-4 years from now. Do you feel like, as such, it's just a good idea as a practice to take 4 or 5 guys every year, just take a lot, just give yourself a better chance of something panning out?
Yeah, we're going to take what we need. It depends on what you lose and how many you lose this year, and what your balance is in class to class. We're not just going to throw bunch of darts at a board and see which one hits. We're gonna put a lot of thought into the evaluation. We're gonna take the right amount of guys that make us good in that class, and that fill however many we need when the time arises for those guys to play. So obviously, selfishly, I'd love to take 10 a class. That'd be great, but you can't do that. So more is obviously great because of the projection that you have on the offensive line. But I feel like we've got some great evaluators. Obviously, Coach Sanders with Shep, and Coach Bates down there with Jordan, and Coach Archie with Torian. Those guys evaluate as good as anybody. So I think that we've done a great job evaluating these 4 guys, and they're exactly what we need. So I'll take whatever the necessary number is. But
Is offensive line the toughest position on the field to play early?
it is, yeah. I would think offense and defensive line. I think Coach Dow's, maybe quarterback too. There's a lot to go into that, but you just talk about offensive line. You could be going against a guy that's been in a college strength program for 5 years, and he's 6'5" on the defensive line, 295 pounds, and you're 6'4", 260 coming out of high school, where maybe your strength coach was the same guy that's teaching world history, and I don't know. So it can be a little bit difficult to play early on either side of the line, and at quarterback, because so much goes into that spot.
Anything final for Coach?
When did Aram start playing football, and how does he transition, play overseas, or try to transition playing over this?
The great thing about Aram is where he plays at the NFL Academy, they play an American schedule. So he'll come over here and play. You've heard of IMG, right, down in Florida? They'll come over here and play IMG. They'll play the school in Ohio, Massillon. They'll play Massillon too. So they'll play a really good schedule. So he has not had to play like a bunch of guys who don't know, inside zone, outside zone, whatever. Like, he's playing a really good schedule. Now, he's only played for a few years, and I'm okay with that, because that's how I was in high school. I only played for a few years, right? So I'm okay with that because it gives me a bigger canvas to paint on him. I can kind of mold him into what I'm looking for in an offensive lineman. So I think that's okay. That's not a negative, I don't think, in any way, shape, or form.
I know you said 51% pass protection, 49% run no blocking. Where do you see these guys leaning as far as their specialties? Are these guys more pass blockers, run blockers, or kind of in between?
They're going to be tweeners like that because that's what we got to be on offense. You know, we've got to be two-dimensional and we got to be able to run the ball and pass the ball. So I would never go out and just, recruit a guy who's, just running gap down backer every play, or just dropping back and throwing the ball 900 times a game. The guys have got to show me that, they've got the ability to do both things, right? And sometimes it's a little bit harder to see in high school, throwing the ball, kick slides, things like that. But you can see the athletic ability when they do pull or when they're outside zoning. You can see if they've got that factor that would translate to pass protection. But I'm looking for a guy that can do, both of those two different things.
Coach, thank you very much.
Got it. Thank you guys. All right.